It's a nice cool morning, so there's not going to be too many snakes, which is always good because I'm only wearing my little shoes, so I don't really want to get bitten on the ankle. The ground's a bit sloppy though. Hope I don't fall down the mountain. Lots of turkeys around to start the day. And I am definitely the first person to walk this track on this day. My name is Vassilios at Vassilios Strength. And today I'm going to talk to you about how I lost 12 kilos in 8 weeks living like a caveman. So, whoa, nearly fell there. The ground is very slippy. Just gonna get over this tree trunk. So, I start my day every day with a big walk through the bush. That's fasted, of course. Not putting any food inside me before I've had my big walk. Ooh. So the walk will be anywhere from 1 hour to 5 hours, depending on work schedule. But yeah, I can always get in a 1 hour walk at least, which is where I do this route, which I'm doing today. I wake up at 4:30 usually, naturally, no alarm. Not a brag, I'd rather be able to sleep until 5:30 actually to get more sleep, but I just always wake up at 4 to kind of 4:40, and I'm full of energy right away. I just want to get up and go. I hate waiting around at the start of the day when it's really dark and you can't do anything, nothing's open. So I'd rather just head straight to a nice destination, even if it means a 20-minute drive to get there. Because then by the time you get there, you know the sun's going to be up in a few minutes anyway. And then you're here, ready for the very start of a fresh new day. It's a pretty cool way to start the day. So, in the morning, first thing, it's just water. When I get home, I'll usually have just eggs, yummy eggs, which I prepare with fresh chili and chopped chives. And to me, that's lovely, with just some butter or ghee or tallow to cook it in. And I just mix it up to, day to day, depending on what variety I feel like, because it, slightly affects the flavour. So, just eggs. Then, a couple of hours after that, I'll have my weights workout where I will do my lifting in the gym, which will usually be quite heavy, but I vary it depending on how I've slept, how my body's feeling. But I do like to do the compound lifts. I'll do, bench press, overhead press with the bar. Bent over rows, pendlay rows, squats, that sort of thing. But then also if I'm really knackered from the day before, if I've had a big walk the day before, maybe if my legs are sore from walking and training, I will, do some easier exercises. How nice is that? Look at that. Brand new day. On with the walk. So after the workout, so far I've been in line with my circadian rhythm. I've got up when the sun gets up, well, just before. I make sure I'm always awake before the sun wakes up. I'm the one he actually sees and hears rustling around downstairs, so he knows to wake up. But anyway, we also want to get in line with the cortisol rhythm of the day, commonly known as like the stress hormone. So after the workout, I'll go and spike that cortisol even more with a ice plunge, with a cold plunge, jump in the cold pool, or in the winter, obviously the creek, or up here in the rock pools, to elevate the cortisol early in the morning, early in the day, so that it can kind of come up and then down, and you want it to drop by the time it's like the late arvo, early evening, so that you can sleep good, because you're not going to sleep well if your cortisol's elevated. So you do the cold stuff and you do the heavy stuff and the intense stuff in the morning, or at least in the first half of the day. Now, if you're not doing weights in the morning, which you shouldn't every day, because you do want to mix it up as well. So 1 or 2 days per week, instead of doing weights, I'll do some high intensity cardio, which will either be doing a traditional old school Tabata, that they used to do more often back in the day, where you're doing 20 seconds of high intensity followed by 40 seconds of low intensity for a few minutes. Basically, you do it for 4 minutes and then repeat. I repeat and make sure it's a 20-minute workout, but you can do for as long as you want, depending on how much time you got and how intense you want to go. But yeah, that works really well for me. Other times, instead of doing the HIIT or the weights, at least once a week. Well, once a week is actually perfect. Sometimes I stretch it to every 1.5 weeks. I run this very trail. So this one's an hour. if you walk it. But I'll run it once a week or once every 1.5 weeks, and that's obviously a really good cardio workout, great for fat burning, and also a good leg workout as well. It's a nice place, isn't it? So, after I've done the cold, it's time to refuel. So I'll have a really tasty steak. My favourite is rib on the bone, but I can't afford that every day. So my second favourite is just the simple ribeye fillet steak. Ribeye steak rather, or a Scotch fillet, and that's my second favourite, and I'll have that, a nice big one, probably like 350 grams, or if I'm getting a bone-in rib, you know, that could be 700 grams. But that's like my main meal for the day. Next thing after that, so I'm just watching for snakes on the ground as well as I go. So yeah, after you've eaten again, the next thing I do after a couple of hours is I want to start dropping that cortisol and preparing for the late arvo, early evening. And that's when you want to do the opposite. So you're going to do the nice tender things like sauna, hot pools, bath, you know, stretching, stuff like that. All the nice, relaxing stuff. Massage. So do that later in the day. And that's going to drop your cortisol and prepare you to get a good sleep. However, before bed, after the last meal of the day, which for me will be some fish with some like dark leafy green stuff. So like, it used to be broccoli for me, but now I'm really liking bok choy or pak choy, you know, the Asian leafy veg. And for me, it's just, you're still getting that dark leafy benefits, but it's a lot nicer for me, you know, and it goes well in dishes. You could put some like Thai kind of spices in there. Oh, black cockatoos up there. You see that? You can hear them before you see them. That's cool. So yeah, fish and veg, or sometimes just fish and salad. You know, if I just want, if I don't want to like cook any veg, I'll just go with some organic spinach, red onion, cucumber. You know, just make a nice little salad. Drizzle of olive oil, some salt. You know, I heavily salt all my food. Sea salt, you know, Himalayan pink rock salt. because then you get the minerals that you need as well. And when you're not having any carbs, you will probably piss more, and you don't hold on to the electrolytes as you would if you were eating carbs. So you kind of need to replace them more often. So I put like quite a lot of salt in my food, and then even in water as well. But it's good because it makes the food nicer anyway. You know, you have a steak, put a lot of nice salt on it, tastes great. So after the last meal, I go for another walk. Bit more of a leisurely walk than this one, you know. I mean, I love this walk, but more of a flat terrain kind of walk. This one we're going down the mountain, and then we're going to go all the way back up the mountain. So it's, you know, slightly more taxing, which is better for the morning. But yeah, in the late arvo, as the sun's setting, I'll get that nice, like, probably 45-minute flat walk through a nice tree-filled area. Doesn't have to be like deep in the bush like this, but I still want to be breathing in a lot of that air from a high density tree area. So yeah, then you've done your final walk. So you've kind of got the best of the fat burning situation. You started burning off that energy from your meals, but then you're also getting that low level sunset light, which is great for keeping your circadian rhythm as well. So when you wake up in the morning, you want that low level sunlight, you know, it hits the eyes at the right spot. Same as the sun goes down at the other side of the day. That's just helps you sleep. And my sleep has had a history of being poor quality, well, being actually really shit. So I've had to do all the things that I can to help get back to a good sleep pattern schedule. That's what I want. So I go to bed at like 8:30 p.m. every night, and then I'm waking up at around 4:30. So it's kind of, if I sleep through, maybe I'll go up to have a wee once per night, but that's all right. As I said, I'd rather sleep till 5:30 to maximize the sleep, but you know, I'm happy with, if I can get a decent sleep between 8:30 and 4:30, that's good enough. So then when you go to sleep, which will be a couple of hours after your last meal and after the walk, of course, you're going to be in, you know, once you've been doing it for a while, I think I just heard a snake. but you're going to be in obviously in ketosis. So because you've been because there's no carbs in your system, you're going to be burning fat as your primary fuel source. And what we're hoping is that your body uses its own fat stores to provide the fuel for your body. And because we're also in a calorie deficit, of course, which is important for fat loss, you would assume that your body would take any extra fuel it needs from the fat. You've given it every single reason to by doing this lifestyle and this diet. There's no excuses for you, body, to be using anything other than your own stored body fat. Obviously, like if you were eating in a calorie surplus, then your body might not want to use the fat stores. It might just use the ketones that it produces by being on the ketogenic diet. And a lot of people like fueling themselves with ketones, but I want mine to come from my fat because I want to lose it. So I don't want to be using any extra fuel other than what's on my stomach. People ask a lot of questions about the keto diet, like it's really mysterious. Oh, can I have this on a keto? Can I have this? Can I have alcohol? Well, you can have whatever you want, but you know what's your goal? If your goal is to lose fat, when you have alcohol, it doesn't matter if it takes you out of ketosis or not. Your body's going to have to burn that alcohol before it can continue burning fat. So you're just wasting time. And if you're on a keto diet, you probably, a strict keto, proper keto diet, you probably don't want to be on it forever anyway. So why would you stall and delay your progress just for the sake of a drink or two? Then there's the fact that, yeah, it might actually kick you out of ketosis as well if the carbs are high enough too, depending on what else you've had for that day. I think like the research shows between 25 and 50 grams of carbs per day is right for the keto diet, differing person to person. But for me, I don't want to risk it just for the sake of a few grams here and there of carbs. So I just try and eat no carbs at all, because I'm going to be getting the odd gram in my, like bits of salad, my bits of veg, and the other food. Like it might add up if it's 0.5 here, 1.5 there. It's going to add up throughout the day anyway to an amount that's low, So just don't risk it by having something that you think might do. So there's some foods that basically just are a no if you want to stay in ketosis. Yogurt, you know, Greek yogurt, which I love. You can't have that unless you find some ridiculous one with like less than a couple of grams of carbs in it, which is unlikely. Same with milk. Just don't have milk. Say no to milk. The dairy that you can have is cheese. You know, a hard cheese will have a very small amount of carbs in it. But obviously you have to check it out. Check out each cheese individually. See what the label says. But then also, you don't have to completely trust the label. You know, it could be slightly out. I'm sure they don't test every single block of cheese for the carbs present. So also just knowing the foods, you know. So you can do that research for yourself. Find out how much macros are in each thing that you're eating. Especially if you eat it frequently. You may as well know what's in it. Or, you know, on average, then you're going to know roughly like what you're going to get. Yeah, and then there's like whey protein. That will be fine, you know, if it's got no carbs in it, no added carbs. But you shouldn't need to on this diet anyway, because it's going to be very, very meat rich, which is high in protein. So you won't need any protein powder, trust me. If you're having like a big steak, some chicken, some fish, some eggs, that's going to get you above 200 grams of protein, which is fine. That's all you need. So we can talk about the macros. Of course, a calorie deficit is going to be beneficial for losing weight. Most people are going to be, I guess, losing weight on this diet, probably wanting to. So you just make sure you get your 200 grams of protein. You can calculate what it is for you individually, but a good rule is, you know, if you're getting around 200, I think you're sweet. If you're a bigger guy, you know, so you want to go a gram per pound of body weight. So, you know, if you're 100 kilos, you might want to do 220 grams. You might want to go a bit more as well because you're on this diet. So you can easily get above 200. For the most part, I'd go around 250 for me. 250 grams of protein. And then the rest, obviously, is just made up in fat. So however many calories you want to land on, just do the rest with fat, because, you know, you're having no carbs, you know. Maybe you'll save room for 10 grams of carbs. Oh, got a leech. Oh, there's another one. Look at him. Flick him away before he gets in. Doesn't take much to get a leech on you. Just literally brushing past a leaf. Just going to do a quick leech check. I can actually use the camera to my advantage. All right, none on the upper. I think it was just them two. They're just a bit annoying if they sink their teeth in, because you can't just flick them off. And that is one of the the only two things that annoy me about walking through this bush is leeches and ticks. I don't mind about the python, who I know is probably going to be about 2 minutes away from where I am now. I don't worry about the snakes, because I'm watching my path as I go for the most part, and my footsteps should scare them away. Plus, it's kind of been a cool morning, so I don't think they'll be out sunbaking yet. And I'm not even worried about big Mr. Monitor Lizard, because we're mates. So, that nice rock pool there. Yeah, I'm gonna have a swim in that now. It's not gonna be like ice cold, because it is still like the end of the summer here where I am. But it'll be nice. And I think it will be just cold enough to, you know, spike that cortisol. So I'm going to say goodbye to you now. And I'm going to go for my swim.